Hey there, Mom and Dad are fighting listeners. Before we get started, I want to let you know about a story coming up a little later in the show. It's from our partners at Macy's. For the last 19 years, Macy's has partnered with Reading is Fundamental, the nation's largest children's literacy nonprofit, providing 15 million free books to kids across the country. From July 1st to 31st, you can support Reading is Fundamental by rounding up your Macy's in-store purchase or donating online. Stick around to hear from Ingrid, an elementary school principal, and find out how Reading is Fundamental has impacted the students in her school and greater community.
This episode contains explicit language. Welcome to Mom and Dad are Fighting, Slate's parenting podcast for Monday, July 31st, the Too Many Sex Jokes edition. I'm Jamilah Lemieux, a writer, contributor to Slate's Parent Feeding Parenting column, and mom to Naima, who's 10, and we live in Los Angeles.
I'm Zach Rosen. I make another podcast. It's called The Best Advice Show, and I'm dad to Noah, who's 5, and Ami, who's 2. We live in Detroit.
I'm Lucy Lopez, and I host another podcast. It's called the Mamacita Rica podcast. I'm mother to Amelia, who's 13, Avery, who's 10, and we live in Miami.
Welcome, Lucy.
Thank you.
Today on the show, we've got an advice double header. First, we have a question about a 9-year-old who's made some sexual jokes. Then, we're going to help an anxious preteen who's going through toilet paper at an alarming rate. We'll end today by recommending some things we've been loving lately. Don't go anywhere.
This podcast is brought to you by Slate Studios and Macy's. Hey y'all, what's up? It's your girl, Lene Denis. I'm a writer, creator, and a change maker. And here's a fact that could use some serious changing. Did you know that 25 million children in the U.S. cannot read proficiently? That's what is so exciting about Macy's partnership with Reading is Fundamental, the largest children's literacy nonprofit in the nation. They're on a mission to ensure all children have the ability to read and succeed. It's Ingrid's mission too.
I'm Dr. Ingrid Bynum, the proud principal of a K-8 school located in Virginia. So when I was growing up, my family was poor and we could not afford extras such as books. When I was in 4th grade, Reading is Fundamental came to my school to do a book distribution, and Riff gave me the very first book I ever owned. And that book changed the trajectory of my life. It was the start to my love of reading. As a principal, the best part about Riff is that every child in the school receives books, regardless of their circumstances. Macy's has been pivotal in helping Riff provide new books and resources to students who need them the most. One book to change a child's life. When a child becomes a reader, it opens up many doors for opportunity for them to have an amazing future.
Now's the time to inspire a passion for reading among all children. This July, when you round up your purchase at Macy's or donate online, you'll help fund Reading is Fundamental in their efforts to close the youth literacy gap across America. Find out how Macy's is creating brighter futures for all at macys.com/purpose.
What's up? It's Kaylee Cuoco. When it comes to travel, we all have a happy place. I just went to my happy place. I just went to Maui, and it was truly amazing. Priceline has always been about getting you to your happy place for a happy price with deals you really can't find anywhere else. Like up to 60% off select hotels in Costa Rica or 5-star hotels for 2-star prices in Cabo.
Go to your happy place for a happy price. Go to your happy price, Priceline.
We're back. Are y'all ready to hear our first question?
No, but I think we should do it anyways.
Hi, I'm wondering if I should tell other parents about our 9-year-olds making sexual jokes. Here's the situation. My 9-year-old 3rd grade daughter made a 69 joke at karate the other day. This is a class that is mixed ages. Some younger kids who likely didn't know what that means, and some older kids who I'm sure know what it means. She knows about sex and we are fairly open about it. We talk and she has plenty of age-appropriate books that we have discussed over the years. We had a short but adequate conversation about it. She's not in trouble, but I told her I don't want her making sexual jokes. I asked her if she knew what 69 meant or if she knew it was sexual, and she said no, she didn't even know it had a sexual meaning. She said she didn't want to know what it is, so I didn't elaborate. So here's the question. She said that she heard it from her 3 best friends at school who are 3 boys in her grade. None of these kids have older siblings or cousins, but there are older kids at school and, of course, the internet. I'm close with their parents, especially their moms, and our kids are friends kind of way. So do I tell the moms just so they can be aware? I think this is partially normal curiosity, but maybe a warning that we need to be watchful of what the kids might watch on the internet. That is where my concern lies. Are they getting this from the internet? And if so, what else? Thanks. Stop the sexual jokes.
This is something that we have not dealt with yet, as my oldest is not even 6 yet. But you asked 2 questions. Should I tell the parents? You're close with them, so I think absolutely. And you can tell them in a way where you're not like accusing them of having done something wrong, but just like, FYI, your kids are talking about 69ing. Not sure, what you want to do with that, but I think that's fine. And especially since you're close with them, like you can have a conversation with them about how they are or aren't having these talks in their home. And then are they getting this from the internet? I mean, probably, but who knows? I think it's great that you are and have been having fairly open sex talks. That just needs to continue. And like, instead of just telling your daughter, don't make sexual jokes, which I agree, like she shouldn't, talk about why.
So listen, I love a dirty joke as much as the next person, but when a 10-year-old is delivering a joke about 69ing, I kind of raise a little bit of a yellow flag, because did she really hear it from the friend? Or did she hear it from somebody in the house or a dirty uncle, the way that most of us grew up, Well, at least I did. I had a dirty uncle who had way too many 69 jokes, and I turned out fine. Now, the problem lies in whether approaching the parent and like having this conversation, because you don't want to embarrass the parent, but you kind of want to let them know what's up and approach it as like a team, like, hey, what should we do? Like, should we have a sit down with all these kids and be like, this is inappropriate? Or maybe check the status on those parental controls on your YouTube page. So yeah, just approach it in a more relaxed way. Because if they didn't hear it there, they heard it at school, probably saw it on the internet. And also ask your kid, what do they think 69 means? I always like doing that to my kids. Whenever they come to me with some adult grown ass shit, I'm like, really? What does that mean to you? And chances are they have no clue what it means. And they just think it's funny because everybody else thinks it's funny.
They've seen their friends say it and get a big reaction out of the people in their rooms. They're like, whoa.
Absolutely.
And so do anything you can to kind of, deflate that tension. Like, not talking about it with the parents is the opposite of what you should be doing. You should be just talking as much as you can. I think.
Approach a situation like an episode in Law and Order. You're Olivia Benson. You're going to get to the bottom of this. But figure it out together, because maybe the mom doesn't even know that their kid is running around acting like Amy Schumer, in some crazy stand-up on Netflix. Like, figure it out together. I think the more we all have this conversation together with parents, the better the solution, and, kind of everybody stays cool-headed, cool-minded.
Jamilah, Naima is this age. What's the status of sexual talk in this space in your house?
We've definitely had a good amount of sex talk. She knows technical terms for body parts and how babies are conceived. But I haven't heard her yet start repeating things. Like, we haven't had any issues like this yet.
What do you make of it?
I think you guys are correct. Lucy, I really like the idea of saying, what do you think we should do? And like making this a collaborative effort between the parents. And hopefully they won't take, umbrage at the idea of their children maybe being the ones to introduce it to your child, which is something you also always have to be careful for, that they may become defensive of their kid and say, well, how do you know your daughter hear it on the internet? But I think just being cool and like, hey, my daughter made this joke. I asked her where she got it from. She said, your child. So just wanted to let you know, it sounds like this is what our kids are talking about. What do you think? How do you want to handle this?
What do you think a sex positive conversation sounds like with a 9-year-old? When discussing stuff like this, where it's like they're saying stuff that they don't even know what it means.
These are things that adults do. And sometimes kids think these things are funny or silly or weird, but they're just simply adult things. So they're not for children to discuss. They're not for you to think about, at this point in your life. This is grown-up business.
It's grown-up business, and like there's nothing wrong with grown-ups doing it. Like you don't want to like attach shame or negative stigma to this stuff, despite it being something that they're too young to learn about. So it's very complicated.
You want to be clear that this is normal, healthy adult behavior.
Adult behavior, yeah. I mean, how old were you two when you learned what 69 was?
I think I was like 13.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember knowing immediately that I could not ask at home what 69 meant. So I asked my neighbor Maura, and Maura was like, oh, well, 69 is this. And I'm like, oh my gosh, how disgusting. But even after having that conversation, I just, I grew up in a Hispanic household, and those were just topics you did not talk about at home with your mom or your dad. Like, absolutely not. So a lot of my sex education came from conversations with girlfriends, movies, television, pop culture. Like, it didn't come from home. So now as a mom, if my child were to come to me and be like, what's 69? I'd sit her ass down and be like, well, this is what it is. It's adult behavior. It's just something that you maybe shouldn't make fun of, or you really shouldn't talk about, because you really can't grasp your mind around, most of your math homework. This is probably going to confuse you more. Mm-hmm. And I think that also as parents, we tend to make it bigger than what it is. And I think this sort of falls into that category, for me at least. Mm-hmm. Where it's like, it's just a 69 joke. Keep it moving. Mm-hmm. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think we can agree that we don't want to blow this out of proportion and make it the event. Right. If anyone out there listening has some advice to share, pass it along. Mom and dad at slate.com, or leave us a voicemail at 646-357-9318. We're going to take another quick break. Be back in a minute.
Hey everybody, it's Tim Heidecker. You know me, Tim and Eric, Bridesmaids, and Fantastic Four. I'd like to personally invite you to listen to Office Hours Live with me and my co-hosts, DJ Doug Pound.
Hello.
And Vic Berger.
Howdy.
Every week we bring you laughs, fun, games, and lots of other surprises. It's live. We take your Zoom calls.
Music.
We love having fun. Excuse me?
Songs.
Vic said something.
Music.
Songs.
Music.
I like having fun. I like to laugh. I like to meet people who can make me laugh. Please subscribe now.
Hi, I'm Jerry Colbert, co-creator of the hit science shows Brain Games and Brainchild. I'm here to tell you about my new podcast, Who Smarted, which gives listeners a big whiff of science and history while making learning funny for kids and families. With 3 15-minute episodes a week on lots of cool topics, Who Smarted is perfect for car rides, bedtime, homeschooling, and classrooms. If you love laughing and learning, check out Who Smarted wherever you get podcasts or at whosmarted.com.
We're back. Are y'all ready for this next question?
Yes.
Sure.
Need help for dealing with natural consequences of anxiety. My daughter, 12, uses a huge amount of toilet paper every time she goes, and even more during her period. So A, we've been going through toilet paper at an alarming rate, and B, we now have the plumbers pulling apart our pipes to clean out the drain line severely clogged. She has anxiety, and so I understand and want to be supportive, but the fact is it needs to stop. She needs to stop flushing 5 or 6 foot strips of toilet paper before she causes real damage to the house. We've had the plumbers 3 times here in 3 weeks, and we cannot wait for her to figure this out in therapy. How can we institute some consequences without her shutting down and having it look like we're punishing her for her anxiety? It's getting to the point where the plumbing bills are going to start to impact our family budget. Ooh, what do you think, Lucy?
First of all, the fact that you're thinking about your child's feelings, wow. Good job, parent. Amazing. I grew up in a household where my parents were constantly reminding me how lucky I was to live in a free country and that toilet paper was a luxury. So the fact that you're thinking about like, oh, my child has anxiety and she's using up an entire roll of toilet paper to wipe her tush, and especially when she has her period, like that to me is like, thank you for being that person in her life. And I don't know if the answer is consequences. We need to pivot, Ross. We need to think about it big picture. Like, tell her, hey, like, maybe you should tell your kid, hey, maybe we need to get you a portable bidet. Super available on Amazon. On the cheap, get yourself a bidet instead of using up all that toilet paper because, I don't know, like, it hurts me, like, to know that this child has to, like, run through an entire roll of toilet paper. I think the important thing here is to give her some options and not necessarily consequences. Like, what if after you use the bathroom, just take a quick rinse? If this is it sounds to me like the issue here is if she's clean or not. Give her some options on that rather than consequences.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think grounding her or whatever or another consequence is going to work here. It sounds like, and of course, I am not a psychologist, but this could be OCD. And you're right that you can't wait to figure this out in therapy. However, it sounds like she needs therapy because this does seem like pretty classic OCD behavior, and there are ways to deal with that professionally. So like that should be the first priority. Your daughter, this is a manifestation of your daughter suffering in some way. So that's a huge priority. Secondly, yeah, this plumbing issue is very real, and this advice coming from me, someone who like, I don't know how to fix anything, it might fall flat. However, because you're dealing with this so much, next time the plumber comes over, you should get them to teach you how to clear out the pipes, because I think relative to complex plumbing stuff, this isn't that. I think that there's like, this is something that an actual non-professional can figure out how to do. And so if you can get a plumbing lesson, then you can do it yourself and save thousands of dollars in the interim. Another idea is, and this isn't great, but you might just have to limit the amount of toilet paper that you're making available in the bathroom. Like, what if you only have a little bit of a roll, like enough for her to use, but not enough for her to use, to clog the toilet in there. So you just have a little bit in there, and then you keep the rest of it, I don't know, under your bed or hidden away.
Oh my gosh, my dad used to do that with his shaving cream. He used to lock up his shaving cream because, obviously grew up with 3 women in the house. He used to lock up his shaving cream.
Because you would overuse it?
We would just go in there and it was like we would go to town with shaving cream to shave our legs and, our underarms. And that could be a solution. You might be onto something.
It's possible. I thought another option, like, okay, if you can't stop yourself from using all this toilet paper, don't. But instead of throwing it down the toilet, put it in the garbage. She's still using the amount of toilet paper she wants, but she's not clogging the toilet.
Oh,
so
and guess what? She'll be able to see. She'll be able to see what she's spending. Exactly. Yeah. She'll be like, oh, well, that's
too much.
That's way too much.
Yeah. So those are some thoughts. What do you think, Jamilah?
Lucy, I looked up portable bidets. They're extremely affordable. They have Perry bottles that you can buy that are like,
what is that?
A Perry bottle. Yeah. It's something that you use following like surgery or childbirth to clean that area, and it's just like a little bottle that you fill up with water and it squeezes out like a little spray. And then they have some that are a little fancier.
Jamilah, did you see the one that you just attached to your toilet? I think literally it may be less than $30, which may be the total budget of their toilet paper madness in that house for like a week. It's $30. Yeah. It's ridiculous. You just go on Amazon and just hook it up to your toilet and you're good to go, ma'am.
So I would go with that, and I'm co-signing Zach that this could, not being a professional, of course, but this could be a sign of OCD. So it's important that you follow up with her therapist and make sure that you all don't let the therapy aspect of this go by the wayside, if you're able to solve the problem at home with maybe a bidet. All right. Well, thank you so much, letter writer. We hope this helps. Anyone dealt with anything similar? Send us an email at momanddad@slate.com or leave us a voicemail at 646-357-9318. Let's move on to the part of the show where we make recommendations. Starting with you, Zach, what are you recommending this week?
I've got a book called Parenting Advice to Ignore in Art and in Life. I'm holding it up for you two to see. Have you seen this before? It's really funny. It's like really annoying, unsolicited advice captioned on top of like fine art that kind of looks like what the subject of the caption is about. So for instance, this is one mom talking to another. You should get him into preschool. It's the only way to get into Harvard. We're on 6 waiting lists. Or, we never tell Mason what to do with his body. If he wants to hug your kid around the neck with his hands, you should let him. Not to brag, but our son was chosen for daycare line leader. His teacher says he's so good at bossing the other kids around. What has your kid done? So it's just funny. It's like a good coffee table book. You can open up to any page and make fun of parents who actually give you, or non-parents who give you this ridiculous advice. It's a very cute book. And it's by Nicole Tersigni. Parenting Advice to Ignore in Art and Life.
Lucy, what about you?
I recommend that you spend this week watching every movie you grew up watching during the summer with your kid. I just spent the past week watching 90s films with my daughters. And can I tell you, Titanic hits different after a certain age. The amount of anxiety that I had watching Titanic now as a grown adult with children, a mortgage, and a career was absolutely mind-blowing. From Titanic to Clueless, a couple of Adam Sandler movies, I had to fast forward through some of those parts. I even watched Boys in the Hood with my kids. And,
oh my God.
And yeah, I wanted them to see what I was watching when I was growing up. And I gotta tell you, they loved it. I mean, the amount of bonding we did over the clothing, the fashion, the way they said things. My kids were like, you had a beeper? What is that? I'm like, what? To Mama, you wore skirts like this? And I'm like, yes, honey. And
like what? Like Cher Horowitz?
Like Cher Horowitz.
I love that. And they're letting you curate. They're not trying to be like, no, I want to watch this
instead.
No,
not at all. They're understanding the assignment, if you will. My kid was like, we're really going to watch Clueless, the 10-year-old. And I'm like, yes, we're going to fast forward through some things. I'm going to have to explain to you a couple of, things that they say in the movie that may not hit right now. And, of course, this entire week, the little one, to be a smartass, was like, hey, so you and Dad going jeeping? I'm like, whoa, 10-year-old, chill out. I highly recommend it. Female family movie night, if you have the opportunity, and try to watch a movie that you watched when you were their age or just a little older. You're gonna love it. It's a great experience to watch that time through their eyes.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I agree. I was talking about this with my friend this week, that I think this is the best part of parenting, is when we can finally share with them the books, music, and movies that we loved. I don't think it gets any better.
Absolutely not, dude. It's awesome.
What about you, Jamilah?
I am recommending the Upside Down Challenge game.
What is that?
It's a game, like a board game, but there's no board. And it comes with these glasses, these goggles, that turn your vision upside down.
Whoa.
And so you complete various challenges while wearing the upside down, like pouring water from one bottle to another, or high-fiving somebody, drawing a picture, writing a word. You can come up with your own challenges. There's blank cards for you to come up with challenges for folks to do. And it's pretty fun. I'm sure it's more fun with the crowd. Naeem and I play it together, and we enjoy it plenty.
Oh, I love that.
That's great. I don't even understand how that works. How does it flip your vision?
I have no idea. It's the coolest thing.
It's magic, guys. Magic.
Well, that's our show. Please subscribe, leave a rating and review, and, of course, tell your friends. This episode of Mom and Dad Are Fighting is produced by Rosemary, Belson, and Maura Currie. Alicia Montgomery is VP of Slate Audio. For Lucy Lopez and Zach Rosen, I'm Jamilah Lemieux. Thank you for listening.
Macy's is committed to creating brighter futures for all. Throughout June, join Macy's in celebrating Pride Month by supporting the Trevor Project, whose mission is to provide life-saving suicide prevention services for LGBTQ young people. Just round up your next in-store purchase or donate online to the Trevor Project. Shop LGBTQ-owned brands and learn more by telling your smart speaker to open Macy's now.